Hello there, welcome back to my channel. This time it's the themes Super Mario, Animal Crossing and Fortnite that's retiring in 2025. Right, I said in my last video I'm not going to go through the spiel again, so if you want to know where they get the figures from, you'll have to watch one of my other videos. Okay. So first set of the Super Marios is retiring in 2025. There's 3 sets that are retiring in July and the rest are retiring in December. So the first one that's retiring in July is 71431, the Bowser's Muscle Car, $24.99. It's got one unique figure valued at £11 with a 3% annual increase. Amazon, it's being sold for between £20 and £45. On eBay it's sold for £37, and on Bricklink it's valued at £22. It's sold 2,350 sets. Next one is 71433, the Goombas Playground, $12.99. It's got 3 unique figures valued at £7. It's got a 3% annual increase. On Amazon it's being sold between £13 and £18. On eBay it's sold for £21. Bricklink is valued at £11 and it's sold 484 sets. And the next one for July, or the last one for July, 71434. The Soda Jungle Maker Set, $49.99. 3 unique figures valued at $25. It's got a 6% annual increase. On Amazon it's being sold for between £70 and £115. On eBay it's sold for £50, and on Bricklink it's valued at £39, and that's sold only 181 sets. So the rest of them are retiring in December, allegedly. Obviously, like I said in my other videos, you're going to take all this with a bucket of salt, because especially some of the higher value ones, if Lego see the prices, the sales increase, then they could well pull it. So don't take what I'm saying as a 100% guaranteed that these sets are going to retire. There's always the chance that Lego will see the sales rise and think, right, we're not going to pull that one, we're going to wait till next year, or maybe we're going to wait till July the following year, or whatever it is like that. You know what they're like for chopping and changing, you know, this one's going forward, that one's going back, this one's going forward, and whatever it is. Right, so the next one is 71411, the Mighty Bowser, $229.99. That's got an expected annual increase of 3%, with also an expected good investment. On Amazon it's being sold for between 204 and 394, and on eBay it's sold for 196. Bricklink values it 192, and it's sold 8,683 sets. Next one is 71426, the Piranha Plant, $57.99. That's got an annual expected increase of 3%, but also an expected good investment. On Amazon it's being sold for between £54 and £105. On eBay it's sold for 63, and Bricklink are valued at 50. It sold 7,286 sets. Next one is 71435, the Battle with Roy at Peach's Castle, $59.99. That's got 3 unique figures valued at £28. An annual increase expected of 3%. Amazon's been sold for between £47 and £60, and on eBay it's sold for £45, which is a fair drop from the MSRP. Bricklink valued at 44, and it's sold 303 sets. Next one is 71436, King Boo's Haunted Mansion, $64.99. It's got 4 unique figures valued at £18. It's also got an annual increase of 3% and an expected good investment. On Amazon it's being sold for between £50 and £71, and on eBay it's sold for 65, which is MSRP basically. Bricklink valued at 54, and it's sold 441 sets. Next one is 71437, the Bowser Express Train, $104.99. It's got 6 figures, 5 of them unique, valued at £26. That's also got a 3% expected annual growth with an expected good investment. On Amazon it's being sold for between £105 and £200, and on eBay it's sold for £105, which is MSRP. Bricklink valued at 100, and it's sold 328 sets. And the last one for Super Mario is 72033, Donkey Kong and DK Jumbo, $29.99. It's got 1 unique figure valued at £15, a 3% expected increase with an expected good investment. On Amazon it's being sold for between £34 and £56. On eBay it's sold for 33 and Bricklink valued at 27, and it's sold 266 sets. Next theme is Animal Crossing. 77046, the Julian's Birthday Party, £12.99. It's got one unique figure valued at £4. It's got an expected annual increase of 7%. On Amazon it's being sold for between £15 and £26, and on eBay it's sold for £13. Bricklink valued at £12, and it's sold 2,044 sets. Next one is 77047, Bunny's Outdoor Activities, £17.99. Trying to look, actually, I've actually got one of those, but I can't think where it is. Yeah, not here. Anyway, it's got one unique figure valued at £5. It's also got an expected annual increase of 7%. On Amazon it's being sold for between £18 and £24. On eBay it's sold for £19, and on Bricklink it's valued at £15, and that's sold 2,366 sets. Next one is 77048, Captain's Island Boat Tour, £24.99. Two unique figures valued at £11, 7% annual increase. Amazon's being sold for between £25 and £45, and eBay sold for £25, which is MSRP. Bricklink valued at £22, and it sold 2,110 sets. Next one is 77049, Isabel's House Visit, £34.99. Two unique figures valued at £11, 7% annual increase. Amazon is being sold for between £27 and £31. On eBay it's sold for £39, and Bricklink is valued at £30. And it's sold 2,056 sets. Next one is 77050, the Nooks, Cranny and Rose's House, £64.99. Two unique figures valued at 26, a 7% annual increase with an expected good investment. Amazon being sold for between £57 and £74. eBay is sold for £67. Bricklink is valued at £55, and it's sold 1,774 sets. I've noticed with Animal Crossing there isn't much of an increase in them. It's only a couple of pounds here and there. Even on Amazon they're only being sold for a couple of pounds over MSRP. Anyway, next one is 77051, Fly with Dodo Airlines, £31.99. It's got two unique figures valued at 17, 7% annual increase with an expected good investment. Amazon it's being sold for between £25 and £33. eBay sold for £31, and Bricklink valued at £27. It sold 1,306 sets. And the last one for Animal Crossing is 77052, KK's Concept at the Plaza, £69.99. Three unique figures valued at £39, a 7% annual increase. On Amazon it's being sold for between £55 and £76. So on Amazon the highest it is 76, which is only £6 more than MSRP, and the figures are worth 39. So it doesn't really compute, really. There's not much markup on it, you know. eBay sold for £70, which is MSRP, and Bricklink valued at 54. So it sold 1,069 sets. So like I say, Animal Crossing doesn't seem to be much of a rise. Now we're down to Fortnite. The first one of Fortnite is 77070, the Durburger, £12.99. Now there's a bit of a surprise with Fortnite, you'll see when I get to the figures now. The expected annual growth of the Fortnite ones I've got here, they've got what they call a retirement pop, which is basically once it retires it goes to a certain amount, and then once it settles down it goes down a little bit. So the retirement pop of the Fortnite ones is 17%. That's pretty high. So they're expecting it to level off to about 14% with all these sets that I'm just about to tell you now. But yeah, they're all about 17%, and once they've retired, a few months later they'll drop down to about 14%. So the Durburger is expected annual growth of 17% when it first retires, but it's also, instead of it being an expected good investment, and it's an expected very good investment. So it could be worth looking into. Anyway, on Amazon it's being sold for between £16 and £35. eBay it's sold for £29, and Bricklink is valued at £14. and they've sold 1,921 sets. So that kind of tells you a bit there. I know I say you've got like a small set syndrome. That's a $12.99 set, but on Amazon it's already selling for 16, or sure, that's the lowest, to 35, and on eBay it's over 29, which is over double, and you could still go to the shops and buy it. So it's just something to keep in mind. The next one of the fortnight ones is 77071, the Supply Llama, $34.99. That also has got an expected annual growth of 17% and an expected very good investment. On Amazon it's being sold for between 28 and 60 pounds, and on eBay it's sold for 38. Bricklink buys at 34, and it's sold 97 sets. And the last one for fortnight is 77072, Peely Bone, $89.99. That's also got a 17% expected increase for the retirement pop anyway, and then, like I said before, dropping down to 14%. And that's also got an expected very good investment. On Amazon it's being sold for between 76 and 170 pounds. I don't think it'll get to 170 yet, but especially seeing as you can go out and buy that. But anyway, on eBay it's sold for 96. Bricklink is valued at 79, and it's sold 1,621 sets. And the last theme for this video is Sonic. There's only a few of these. So 76995, Shadow the Hedgehog Escape, $18.99. It's got two figures, both unique, valued at £11. Now the expected increase of Sonic isn't very good. It's only expected to rise by 2%. Like I said in my other videos, it's your job to increase that by getting them at such a discount that the annual increases are going to be more than 2%. Amazon it's being sold for between 16 and 37 pounds. On eBay it's sold for 22. Bricklink is valued at 16, and it's sold 1,325 sets. Next one is 76996, the Knuckles Guardian Mech, $29.99. Two unique figures valued at £21. That's also got expected annual increase of 2%. On Amazon it's being sold for between 28 and 43 pounds. On eBay it's sold for 34, Bricklink valued at 26, and it's sold 940 sets. Next one is 76997, Tails Adventure Boat, $49.99. Three unique figures valued at £25. It's got a 2% annual increase with an expected good investment. Amazon it's being sold for between 34 and 45 pounds. Now on Amazon it's being sold for less than MSRP, so it's below MSRP, and that's the highest that it's being sold for on Amazon, just to kind of give you something to look at. And yet on the opposite side of the thing, on eBay it's sold for £40, but, or should I say, it's being sold for, it's sold for £40, but one actually sold for £100. Don't know why. Bricklink valued at 37. 284 have been sold. Right. Next one is 76998, Knuckles and the Master Emerald Shrine, $29.99. It's got three figures, two unique, valued at £28. It's got a 2% annual increase with an expected good investment. On Amazon it's being sold for between 24 and 30 pounds. On eBay it's sold for 30 pounds. Bricklink valued at 25. It's only sold 650 sets. Now that, to me, the data on that doesn't look too good, but it's up to you. Next one is 76999, Supersonic versus Egg Drillster, $69.99. That's got five figures, three unique, valued at £56, which ain't bad. 2% expected increase with an expected good investment. On Amazon it's being sold for between 63 and 149 pounds. On eBay it's sold for 75, and Bricklink valued at 58, and it's sold 243 sets. And the last one for Sonic and this video is 77000, Shadow the Hedgehog, $59.99. Now that's got an expected annual increase of 2% as well, but it's got an expected good investment. On Amazon it's being sold for between 82 and 110 pounds. On eBay it's sold for 74. Bricklink is valued at 59, and it's sold 609 sets. So the data on that one looks a little bit better than some of the others. So there, that concludes this video. The next video will be Creator. I've done half of the data for the next video, but I haven't had time to do the rest. So I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Please comment, like and subscribe. Thanks so much. Bye.